PR Connections Radio presents.
Well, howdy. I am your host, Brian Gardner, with the podcast We Have the Power. And today we're celebrating. Not only do we have an exciting guest, but this is my 50th segment of We Have the Power. And we'll be right back with PJ Belanger, who is the outreach coordinator and fundraiser for the Coalition for Patient Rights, right after this important message. We'll be right back. If you have the proper tool, usually things just go better. And one of the best tools in keeping our young people away from drugs and alcohol abuse are the booklets from the Drug-Free World Truth About Drugs organization. Now, they have a series of booklets. Certainly, this is a drug that is out there, marijuana, and also they have it in Spanish. These booklets are free. You just go to drugfreeworld.org and you can obtain these booklets and share them with your family members, your friends. And this is a way to make sure they have the proper information, because these booklets do not say, don't take these drugs. They say this will happen to you if you do. And there's also a compilation booklet that has a series of different topics in there. One is alcohol, one is ecstasy, cocaine, crystal meth. We know that inhalants can be abused, heroin, LSD, and even prescription drugs can be abused. So use the right tool, get these free booklets from Drug-Free World, and avail yourself and your family members, especially young people that you know and are in your family, of these booklets, so that we protect our young people and our loved ones from ever getting involved with drugs or alcohol abuse. Yes, and those booklets are free, so get some of those and get them read, and let's have a country where people are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I am so pleased on my 50th show, and I'm glad, PJ, you're my 50th show guest. You are the fundraiser and outreach coordinator for Coalition for Patient Rights, and we want to find out about your background a little bit and how you got involved with this organization and what they're attempting to do here in Nevada.
Well, thank you for having me, Brian, and I'm very excited to be here on your 50th episode. How cool is that? Very significant number. My background, I'm certified as a health educator. I'm certified as a wellness educator under Dr. Pam Popper. She's part of the documentary Forks Over Knives, a lot of you have heard of. And I've been studying natural healing and disease prevention probably since I was about 16 years old, really. But in my 30s, diagnosed with lupus, it became very relevant, personally relevant, where I had to figure out how to heal myself. I had to figure out how to stay healthy, to raise my two daughters practically by myself. So I looked into changing my diet. I changed my water to alkaline water. I became certified to teach other people how to take care of their health all naturally as well. And I looked into plant-based medicines for PTSD and the ADHD, mental stuff. So physically and mentally, I've been able to use all natural sources for healing, from everything from lupus, like I said, the PTSD and ADHD, with plant-based medicines. But then also, fast forward, I survived 2 heart attacks in 2019. I reversed the AFib that was left over for 2 years after that. I reversed them all naturally. I'm personally, as we speak, saving my thyroid from destruction. I had goiters so big it looked like I had a baseball sticking out of my neck, and they're all practically shrunk. I'm sure you remember when they were bigger.
Yeah.
Personally, Brian. And they're almost gone, and I get to sit and I get to keep my thyroid. That's the most important part. And I don't have to become a slave customer to the pharmaceutical industry. So that's my goal, is to help people not be stuck in the pharmakia AMA way of living for healing. It's not the natural way. It's not what was provided for our bodies.
Yeah, with that resume, I don't think we need to ask why you're involved with this organization, but I'm still going to ask,
Yes, well, it's ironic that I have been volunteering with these organizations. Compassion Center is the management services organization, and Compassion Center manages Coalition for Patient Rights and Integrative Providers Association. Now, Integrative Providers Association is who we are hosting the educational conference for coming up here in October in City Hall, in Chambers. It's going to be very exciting. And then in the foyer of City Hall, we're going to have a fundraiser. I call it the fundraiser because we're going to make it fun. Yeah. It will be a costume ball. So everyone right now, first piece of homework is write down October 6th through the 8th. You want to say those dates.
Give that date again.
October 6th through the 8th.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. 6th through the 8th, is that the costume ball, or is that costume ball a different day?
No, the CME accredited medical training is the 6th and 7th. Okay. Ending with the costume ball the night of the 7th. And
night of the 7th. Okay.
And then on the 8th is really very exciting, Brian, because that's where we take the educated providers that we just had in the conference for 2 days, getting CME accreditations. We have them serve the community on day 3. Day 3 is going to be a free patient resource clinic where we connect them to not only holistic, alternative, integrative professionals, but we also introduce them to other things in the community like legal services, food, farm to table food sustenance programs, all sorts of different community resources we're going to have at the clinic on the day 3.
Yeah, whatever they need, basically, what services they need. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people fall through the cracks, and so we want to help provide.
Sure.
We've been taking care of basically the underserved people who fall through the cracks since 2001. Okay. And I've been helping with legislation and lobbying and with their nurses education conference at UNLV. In fact, that's where I was recruited by Americans for Prosperity, where I became a certified activist. So I'm literally a freedom fighter for health freedoms.
Sure. Now, let's make sure we give it now. We'll give it before the end of the show. How people can go to the website or find out about the 3-day event you mentioned. Where do they go to find out about that?
Thank you. Actually, there's 2 websites you really want everybody wants to remember, because there's the medical training for the first 2 days. That website is IPAC 2023 NV.eventbrite.com.
Good. So say that again.
IPAC 2023 NV at eventbrite.com.
Good. That's one. So, and then the other one.
And then the other one is for day 3, the patient clinic, which is open to the public, and we come on down, and that is called teach1serve10.org. Teach1serve10, all spelled out. Teach1, each practitioner we teach is going to attempt to serve at least 10 clients in the community.
Now, is the celebrity ball a benefit?
Costume ball, yes.
Costume ball.
It will be a fundraiser. It's a nominal fee to get in. It's only $25 per person or $40 for a couple.
So a person could come for $25. They pay $25. Yes. They get into the costume ball.
The costume ball at City Hall in the foyer, right there, and all that beautiful marble. Yes.
Okay. Good.
It's going to be great. A lot of fun. I mean, and that's just one simple way to be part of the IPAC and the Integrated Providers Association and the work that we're doing, because these organizations have been helping people find choices where they've been restricted through the normal medical modalities. So it's a very exciting thing to be part of, and we're looking for sponsors. We know there's people out there who are meant to be aligned with the purpose and with the passion that we have of reducing the opioid crisis. We have measurable impacts in also reducing the uncompensated care crisis. So we're serving many different aspects of the community issues with measurable impacts.
All right. Now, if somebody wanted to be a sponsor, did they get a banner up inside the event halls with their name on it? Tell us what a sponsor would receive as far as exposure.
Well, we have several different opportunities for sponsors, everything from a $25,000 sponsor that person's name will be all over everything in every room, the breakout rooms, the lunch rooms, the conference hall, the exhibit halls, everywhere, right? And then we have $15,000 and $10,000 sponsorships, all the way down to $5,000 and $25,000 for nonprofits and new startups to $2,500. But for $5,000, anybody could come in, be supporting the work that we're doing. And yes, they would not only just get to exhibit and be part of the show and fill their funnel for their business, right?
Yeah. So they would have basically a booth.
But it would also be really sick care. It's a sick care crisis we've got going, and it's sick care that they do in the normal medical fields, where we're shifting that focus to solutions and getting to the core root problems of health issues. And so we're redirecting healthcare, and you get to be part of that. So yes, what we're doing is we're making this a very professional looking event. We're even providing our sponsors with logoed pens. So you don't get to go home with those. So we'll have a uniform look in our exhibit halls. The medical conference is very strict. It has to be FDA certified products and services. And then it's a little more open for the patient conference because that's consumer and public. We can have more different types of exhibitors in there. So you have two different opportunities there to exhibit. Yeah. So there's there's a lot of ways to get involved, a lot of ways to help, a lot of ways to get your name on and out there through the IPAC.
Now, obviously, you're a fundraiser, you're a coordinator, so you do a lot of work with organizing these events. My question is, when you're on the front lines like that, in the general Las Vegas area, what are you seeing that's the biggest lack that people are experiencing that you're fulfilling? What is the number one thing or number two thing you get asked, gosh, I need help with this and this?
Well, mostly it's people fall through the cracks in the insurance fields. They don't know where to go and where to get help because they don't have insurance.
Right, and that can be very expensive.
Yes, and very expensive. And so we're partnered with several different providers and several different organizations that are helping those patients get to holistic providers that aren't even available in the mainstream. So it's the uncompensated care. You know, a lot of hospitals close down. They get eaten up. They get taken over by the big hospitals that are more pharmacy driven. And if we don't have these hospitals getting inundated with people who don't qualify for Medicaid, Medicare, and don't have their own policies, they're taking on all those expenses, and it's closing them down. And so we have a significant impact on that. And then, I said,
I'm sorry, what was that last thing?
Well, and then, like I said earlier, too, is we have a proven track record of reducing opioid use and abuse as well.
Sure. Now, there's a lot of talk about two other things in Nevada and specifically Las Vegas at this time. One is our education of our young people. Number one, I want to have you talk about that a little bit. But then also there is a whole segment of the population that are under 18 that oftentimes, unfortunately, have become individuals that fall into the cracks of individuals that want to abuse and use this age group. And we're talking about, child endangerment and other horrible titles of things that happen to kids. You also, I would be assured, would be helping parents with those kinds of issues.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have a kind of, it's almost like you kind of wipe out the whole next generation in one way or another. There's a lot that the next generation is going to need our help in us fighting. I've been putting out a meme last week is that the freedoms that we're losing now are really freedoms that our grandchildren never even knew that they're missing them. And so the important thing is that like we provide education for the medical providers, right? But we're providing a alternatives for the community to have access to these. And we have a lot of kids that don't need to be drugged. They need perhaps psychotherapy. They're confused, and then they're getting deceived by the systems of this realm. They're telling them that they need, all these different puberty blockers and all these things to make them sterile, that make them sterile, if not castrate them. They really want to castrate them. It was really sad that Nevada passed that law for insurance companies to be required to cover those surgeries.
Right. And I'm a big fan of a family going to a nutritionist first, a non-psychiatric nutritionist, and saying, how is my son or daughter doing? Let's find out before, because they have a little bit of bad attitude, you start filling them up with these dangerous side effects that come from psychiatric medication.
I'm that child. I mean, I was put on Ritalin for years as a child. Wow. Because I was a smart little girl who was troubled. They didn't know how to deal with me, so they put me on Ritalin. And that's what's happening is people don't know how to deal with these kids because they're these, kids are you can't be in these days hardly either without PTSD anymore. But plus the foods that they're feeding our kids, the foods that are even that we thought were healthy are not even healthy anymore. So yeah, that's one of the things that one of our pillars is environmental, water, food safety.
Sure.
And addressing those issues because our kids are not getting what they need nutritionally to be sound and to be stable.
There is a whole sub issue of obesity with children, and then the other thing, of course, is child trafficking. I don't know if you get parents asking you how to avoid having their child fall into that labyrinth.
Oh my goodness! Well, I'm very connected to several different organizations that help with child trafficking, and
so you can refer someone, of course,
And, yes, and I do the searches actually every year with Nevada Child Seekers.
Okay.
In fact, everybody should put the date on their calendar for September 16th. There will be a red carpet event with the gentleman from the movie.
September 16th.
Yes, September 16th at Brennan Theaters at the Palms. From 4 to 9, there's going to be a red carpet event, a big ribbon cutting ceremony celebration for launching the first public chapter of Child Liberation Foundation.
That group is specifically designed to stop child trafficking.
Well, he's the guy who in the movie. If you've seen Sound of Freedom.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but that's on my big list.
Listen, in the movie, they portray this guy, Pablo, who's the financier, the guy who's been paying for the rescues. Well, the real guy, Paul, is going to be at this red carpet event. He's the co-executive producer of the movie, and he is one of the characters from the movie that's had a private organization saving kids in secret, has kept it secret for safety reasons, and it is now we're going to have the very first public chapter here in Vegas. And it's launching.
Fantastic. That is really good news.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your organization and other future plans as we move. The Christmas holidays are always very distracting for people, but once you get into January and February and the weather starts to get better, so what plans, if you can talk about it, does your organization have for next year that are goals that you want to achieve and things you want to do?
Well, what's really cool is that we do several different types of lecturing, and we have a studio where we film.
Fantastic.
For providers and lecturers and doctors and scientists, and we have a learning management system. So if we can't get them on our stage, like in October, we're already booked. All of our speakers are booked. So we have the opportunity to archive these lectures for the future and have them on a learning management system where professionals can get their continuing education credits by watching these lectures from online. But we do have our next IPAC, Integrative Providers Association Conference, will be in Dallas. So if anyone's connected to scientists, doctors, providers, resources, product lines that are sponsors that are in the Dallas area that would want to be part of redirecting healthcare and offering more choices and alternatives and holistic options for healthcare, they'll want to make sure they hook up with us for our March conference in Dallas. That's March 15th and 16th. And at that one, we'll have a St. Patrick's Day ball.
Right. That's good. Now, on my show, We Have the Power, I constantly talk about reminding people. They go, I'm just one person. What can I do? And you're a glowing example of one person that is doing so much. We needed an hour to talk to you. We still have about 10 minutes left. But I want to not only talk about more of what you do, but I want you to give a pitch that, you know, at one point you weren't maybe doing this much. And here you are making differences. And I want you to talk to people that may be watching that one person can make a difference.
Well, you know, it's just about paying attention to what's going on in your community and how to be a light. You know, I consider myself an ambassador. And I'm an ambassador. So in order to be an ambassador and be effective in fighting for unity and freedom is to get involved. And so I am very involved with things. If I can get there, I'll be there. Last night we had the Israeli American Council meeting on anti-Semitism, and I was there. We have, Americans for Prosperity is fighting for education reform, and I've helped with that, and I've been to Carson City, and I have gone and testified, and I go to the meetings, and I go to Clark County Commissioner meetings, and try to do as much as I can, and I try to help other people learn how to go, show up, speak out.
Yeah, now let's remind people that you have kids, you have bills, and you still are finding the energy and the time to do this with all the health challenges you've had in your life. So there may be somebody in perfect health who doesn't have kids. They've got a lot of time. And so, we want to encourage them to get involved.
Well, that's how I kind of became a professional volunteer over the last 10 years. I was going through so much with my health and with, family stuff. And I'd been rear-ended by an Ace Asphalt truck, F-350 Super Duty. And then he lied to the officer, said I was changing lanes, which I'd already been stopped. Had my foot in the clutch. I drove a clutch, a stick shift. That's how you know I was stopped. My foot was in the clutch. So I was in treatment for 7 months after that.
Wow.
And I didn't want to just lay around sick. So when I did have the energy to not need to be resting, I would go out into my community and see how to show up. And so that's how I ended up getting connected to, Americans for Prosperity. I became a chaplain while I was healing. After just before the heart attacks, actually, and it just gave me an opportunity to not just focus on what was happening in my body and overcoming didn't have to be my only thing to live for. That's what people do, is they give in to sickness and they give their lives over to it, and they let that become their identity and what they're all about. And I didn't want to live that way. I want to heal, find healing, be healed, live healed. I want to be healthy and vital till the day I take my last breath.
Right. So I doubt you'd be this excited if you were a ditch digger during the summer in Las Vegas. So you're not. I want you to tell people, what is the joy you get and when does it occur mostly in the work that you do with all the other things with kids and health challenges you have? What is the joy you get from this kind of work?
Well, knowing that our body was designed to heal itself, is paid for our healing was paid for in blood. The earth has provided everything that we need. I just have grown up with an insatiable desire to learn and share with others ways to stay free and not have to, again, be victim to sickness, be victim to disease. I pride myself on being an overcomer. And so it's very exciting to help other people know that they can overcome, that there is hope. And, I have 4 grandkids, 15, 12, 6, and 5. Then I have a couple adopted daughters. They have a 2-year-old and a baby coming next month.
Wow.
And so I count them as my grandchildren as well. So it's like, that'll be my 6th when that one's born. Right. And I want to be involved in their lives. I want to stay healthy and vital and and people shouldn't have to live the last parts of their lives miserable. You know, you turn 60 and you think the last 25 years of your life are just going to be downhill. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right. You know, I write about in my book that the moment a person takes their attention off their self, oh, woe is me, all my problems, and all they do is stuff envelopes at a community type based group, suddenly my shoulder doesn't hurt quite as bad. You know, I do believe that if you take your attention off yourself,
absolutely,
suddenly, hey, things are going pretty good. We have just a few more minutes left. Could you go over slowly the key events you mentioned and the 2 websites? Let's give those again.
Yes, thank you. Everybody out there, get your checkbooks out. I told everybody to get the checkbooks out.
Yeah, that's right.
We're looking for sponsors. You can apply to be a sponsor, and you'll get to exhibit and be part of the Integrated Providers Association conference. And that is October 6th and 7th at City Hall.
Okay.
And that website is IPAC2023NV.org. No, excuse me, that's at Eventbrite, eventbrite.com.
Okay.
So that one is IPAC2023NV at eventbrite.com.
Okay.
And then the other one for day 3 is very exciting. It's for our patient resource clinic, and everyone wants to sign up to come and be part of that. That's teach1serve10.org. That one is teach1serve10.org. So October 6th and 7th it is CME accredited. So we want to make sure we also open this up and make sure we're inviting all of our attendees, all of our medical professionals, anybody who works behind any licensing board, answers to any licensing board, has to have continuing education credits every year. Right. Come get them with us, October 6th and 7th. It'll be a lot of fun, very exciting. We have incredible speakers lined up. And get your CMEs for pennies on the dollar, by the way. Most conferences are $800, $1,200 for medical professionals to go get training, and ours is only $399.
And then there's the costume ball, which is
the costume ball. You can, if you just only want to get, if that's the only part you can participate in, because you are expected to participate in one of these 3 parts: medical training, costume ball, patient clinic.
Right.
If it's just that one you want to go to, you can go on to Coalition for Patient Rights and look for that. Okay. .org. That's on that website.
I want to come to that costume ball. Let me tell you.
Yes, make sure you're there. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Our theme is medical heroes, so I think I'm gonna try to dress up as Cleopatra and have my essential oils.
I better come as Dr. McCoy from Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, right. Hey, we're living in Star Trek days. I remember thinking.
Well, I mean, then I'll be, I'll be in line with the medical. I don't want to come as Captain Kirk. I want to come as a doctor.
That's right. That'd be perfect. Yes. And we're living in, Star Trek days are here. I mean, all these advanced technologies in healthcare are amazing.
Yeah, and they're increasing with leaps and bounds. So listen, thank you for being on the show. And people, I'm sure, have gotten the information. And I will continue to talk things up, and you can always keep me apprised of things. You have all my contact information, and look for me in a blue Star Trek uniform.
There we go.
Night of the costume ball.
Yeah, just tell all your friends they either want to come sponsor, attend and get CME credits, or come to the costume ball, and everybody can come to that. It's open to the public. And then the Teach1Serve10 free patient resource clinic, open to the public. Everyone can come to that.
So wonderful what you're doing. And you're certainly an example of what I have right there. We have the power, not the evil guys.
Yeah, I'm trying
to have the power. One person like you can make a difference, so can other people. Thank you for being on the show, PJ.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Enjoy. Be overcomers yourselves.
Yeah. All right.